I wish that we didn't have to be here again. And I can't help but feel emotional myself. And seeing what we all saw happen to George Floyd was painful. And it wasn't just painful because we saw it for the first time. It was painful because sadly, even growing up here in San Francisco, we've seen it far too many times. And the reason why I worked so hard to get active in politics had everything to do with wanting to change things. I wanted to make San Francisco better. I feel like with what I experienced growing up here, the violence, the hopelessness, the despair, I felt like if someone had this kind of experience growing up, maybe in the political world, something can change. Just maybe. And I gotta tell you, something has changed. We know that it hasn't been enough, but something has changed. And let me give you an example. In 2006, my cousin was killed by the San Francisco Police Department. And at that time, my aunt, who was battling cancer, could get no answers. And unfortunately, she was treated like a criminal when she had questions about her son. Today, because of the work I and others who were on the Board of Supervisors at the time, and Malia Cohen leading that effort, with any officer involved shooting, there's an automatic investigation. No question. And let me say this. When you are in a situation where stuff is not happening and you're able to make a movement so that something can happen, there is nothing more important to the people that are most impacted by the decisions that happen in this city than real change, tangible change. So even if it wasn't able to help my aunt at that time, it's going to be able to help somebody else's mom. You know, I've been waking up every day with a heavy heart because I am thinking about the people that we lost, that we didn't have to lose. And in particular, Rico talked about Charlene, his cousin, who was really my baby. And it still hurts that this kid, who I practically had a lot to do with raising in our community, who was one of the best kids you would ever know, that he would be taken away from us. And the fact is, it's always a black man. And this is not normal. And we know it's not normal. And we know that we have to do something about it. And there is nothing more important to me as mayor of this city than to make sure that the department here, the San Francisco Police Department, that we not only put forth the policies necessary to protect our communities, but we make sure that the people who deserve to wear that uniform are the ones policing our communities. Nothing is more important to me than that. Nothing. And what's happening in our city today, the hurt and the pain, and not knowing what to do with it, losing your mind and your thoughts and wanting to break something and wanting to just go crazy because of the hurt and the pain and not knowing how to process it, not knowing what to do with it. I understand that because I feel it too. I feel it too. I'm struggling just like so many people are struggling, thinking about the people that I lost that didn't have to die. And when we saw George Floyd yell for his mama, I couldn't help but feel like that was my brother. And that could have happened to my brother. I couldn't help but feel like, wow, we know, especially in African American community, when you call for your mama in that voice, you in trouble. And there is nobody that can save you but your mama and God. And so we all feel the hurt and the pain. But let me tell you something. for those people who are coming to our city for the sole purpose of destroying our city and tearing our communities down, we won't tolerate it. For those who want to come and protest, if you want to call me a name or anything else, go ahead. Say what you need to say. But you are not going to destroy our city. You are not going to destroy our city. And you know, what bothers me the most is the fact that there are organized agitators that do this for a living all over the country. They go to various places and they try to excite a riot. And let me tell you, yesterday I had some protesters. I didn't get to see them, but sadly I saw the videos. And all white people yelling Black Lives Matter, protesting in front of my house. But that didn't bother me as much as the taunting of me coming outside with firework torches in their hands, looking like what used to happen when the KKK would show up to black people's houses to burn their houses down. Don't come for me, because I'm not the one.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Don't bring the fire, because I'm not the one.
That's right. That's right.
Don't get it twisted, because I'm not the one. Because I know what that is. I know what that is, disguised in activism. That's not activism, that is blatant racism and hate. You can disagree with my policies, you cannot like me, you can protest me at City Hall all day, every day. But don't come for me like that. Don't come to my house. Because at the end of the day, what's more disrespectful is the fact that we have people who are not black chanting Black Lives Matter and don't mean it.
That's right. That's right.
And don't mean it.
That's right.
Your words mean nothing
That's right.
if your actions are something else.
That's right.
Stop turning Black Lives Matter into a joke, because it's not. It's born out of pain. It's born out of disrespect and racism. Don't turn Black Lives Matter into a joke, because it's not a joke.
That's right.
It's not a joke. When you've had to live the way we have been forced to live, then it wouldn't be a joke to you. So if you're sincere about the protest, about what you mean in order to take care of and not disrespect our city, that's what we're asking for. We want to make sure that people have a platform, that they have a place like what we're doing right now, to pray, to feel your pain, to hear from one another, to grieve, to process this grief. And then at the end of the day, we want people to be able to go home safe. We want the community to be able to go home safe. And we want our officers to go home safe. We are all in this together. And as we deal with this global pandemic, we have to also keep that in mind. Let's not go protesting, catch the coronavirus, and then take it home to mama. So I'm asking you all to protest and do it safely, to be respectful of one another. Don't come and destroy our city. Don't come and destroy our community. Don't tear our city apart, especially if you don't live here. So if you feel you got to do what you got to do, we got to do what we got to do. I don't want to do it, but we got to do what we got to do. The folks that are standing here, many of us, we're born and raised in this city. We care about this city. We're some of the last minorities left in this city. And we're trying to do everything we can to take care of this city, to take care of our community, to change policy so that those kinds of things that we hate so much don't happen here in San Francisco. And I am committed to working every single day with this community with folks in our city to make the kind of changes that we need. And I hope you'll join me and work with me, because that's the only way we're going to get something done, is if we work together, despite our differences, despite our disagreements. We are stronger together. We have enough problems as it is than to have folks coming in, tearing up cities, and not to mention how much money we're going to have to spend with an already budget deficit repairing all that stuff, which takes away from the investments we need to make in the community in the first place. So I want to thank Roberto and all of you, SVIP, Felicia Jones, and Valerie, and everybody for always being there for the community. Let's continue to be safe. Let's continue to pray for one another. Let's continue to lift one another up, because this is a hard time for all of us. So just know that, as Dr. Martin Luther King said, one of the most profound things I've ever heard: hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. So we have to change our direction, how we treat each other, how we feel about one another, how we get through this. We have to be that change. We have to make those moves. We have to be better. Thank you.